I've spent a lifetime keeping up my guard, watching my back, wearing my mask. Relief was never in sight until now.
Okay, you guys really twisted my arm. This is probably the most amount of requests I've ever gotten for a character. People would DM me through Reddit and Instagram just to ask me to make a video on him. Not that it's a bad thing, I just gotta admit, I'm kind of impressed. You guys must really like this guy. So, gotta give the people what they want. Plus, this might function as an apology video considering what happened last week. Really should have held off. Hi, I'm Kitty Monk. I'm here to talk to you about Starverses, or more specifically, Toffee, who has the honor of being the show's biggest villain before Eclipsa and Meteora. Not gonna lie, my feelings towards him are pretty complicated. I remember when the show was airing, I thought he was cool, but he could have been better. Please don't hurt me. I'm about to give a weird analogy, but at times, Toffee felt like junk food, like a bag of Pringles. Ironic considering his name is a kind of candy. He was cool, and he made an episode spine-chilling, but there was no substance to him. He was just vague for being vague. Ultimately, it felt like it amounted to nothing. I had a lot of questions the show never answered. How did he know about the whispering spell? Why is he called Toffee? Is that even his real name? I mean, he tells people, you can call me Toffee.
You may call me Toffee.
And Ludo assumes that was his name.
I guess his name is Toffee.
How did he get to where he was? How did he... anything? Sure, some of it was answered in stuff like Reddit AMAs and the spellbook. Obviously, none of it was mentioned in the show. Meaning, if you didn't check any outside sources, you'd be lost. It's jarring, since some of what they say is contradictory to what happens later. For example, Sarah Nefsey said that Toffee was meant to be like Magneto, meaning he's not totally wrong and something likely made him the way he was, but he's an extremist doing everybody a disservice. Except most of what Toffee does is not to benefit the monsters, but himself, like getting his finger back from Moon or killing Comet. And never was he portrayed sympathetically, something I think is important for any Magneto character. Or the reason he knew about magic was he was a historian who researched the butterfly family more than anybody ever did before. At most, we get like one scene of him studying. I remember when I first saw his self-titled episode, I thought, wait a minute, you did all of this just to get your finger back? That was why I preferred Eclipsa and her daughter. Sure, they weren't on the level of Toffee, but that didn't mean they weren't great characters. Like Toffee, they were built up, but it amounted to something. When we got twists with them, maybe they were a little obvious, especially with Eclipsa, yet they ended up going somewhere. I was super scared to make a video on him simply for that reason, since I know a lot of people like him, and I didn't want to step on their toes. However, I think he deserves another chance. I mean, we learned a lot about him in the years since Starverses went off the air, so I rewatched the episodes he was in, and you know what, I'll concede, I was wrong. He's awesome. Except for the ending he got, Toffee was a stellar antagonist, and deserving of all of our love. So, let's discuss. However, we're gonna have to back up a bit, at least 37 generations ago. Centuries ago, American settlers somehow ended up in the realm of magic, and got doused with the otherworldly liquid.
Where are we?
Who are we?
When they reached land, they encountered Glossaric, who informed them of their new origins.
A long time ago arrived the first settlers of Muni. That's you.
Wow.
Glossaric also used this chance to choose the first Queen of Muni, through the most intricate and elaborate of methods.
Eeny, meeny, muni, mo. Okay, you, Mo. Here you go. Congratulations! You can do magic with that thing.
Okay.
Afterwards, they found out people already lived there, so the settlers did the noble thing, and they all had a turkey dinner. Wait, wrong holiday. Besides, I ain't touching that with a 39.5-foot pole. The settlers, using their newfound gift, pushed the monsters back, and established the kingdom that eventually became Muni. 25 generations later, Skywind Butterfly became queen, and the realm entered a period of prosperity. Unfortunately, prosperity also means population booms, so the mutants expanded onto monster territory. Skywind's daughter, Solaria, became queen, and tried to reason with her foes, but her diplomatic efforts went nowhere. Leaving war is the only viable option. It was mostly successful, albeit they don't call Solaria the monster carver for nothing. Her 10-year campaign led to many monsters resenting the mutants, and far-reaching consequences we see to this day. At the start of the show, it sucks to be a monster. They're second-class citizens, they get kicked out of stores, they can only hold menial jobs, and they're forced to live in dirty, grimy swamps. Yes, it does depend on wealth, but to most humans, a monster is a poor creature who isn't an ally. The royal family, wanting to hide their imperial efforts, use propaganda to keep the monsters subjugated. Wow. Major history lesson, sorry if that was a lot to take in, so let's back up a bit. As she's still young and naive, Star believes that monsters are bloodthirsty, vile creatures.
I fight monsters!
On her 14th birthday, Star is given the royal magic wand and told something prophetic.
If it falls into the hands of evil forces, the universe could be destroyed.
Yeah, Moon, it wasn't the monsters who would destroy Muni. To protect their daughter and to be sure she can learn magic unadulterated, Star's parents send her to Earth. During Star's departure, they're spotted by one of Ludo Avarius' scouts, Buff Frog. See, a group of monsters want to take Star's wand, for reasons I'd made clear at the beginning. Star doesn't know that yet. Even if she's in a different dimension, she's still unguarded, so Ludo believes they have the advantage.
Soon, the wand will be mine, and then the universe, and then... Actually, the universe should do it.
Thankfully, Star has the attention of Marco Diaz, and they're able to fend them off. This does nothing to stop Ludo.
I've been trying to steal a wand from a teenager. Harder than it ought to be.
Throughout most of Season 1, Star is regularly confronted by his army, as they attempt to steal the wand, losing out for one reason or another. When this happens, there's a constant theme of Ludo failing spectacularly, usually from his own hubris, and then he throws a tantrum.
You guys make me sick! No more milkshake privileges for you!
Not helping is he also has a tendency to blame everybody but himself, and to treat his monsters much like rowdy children.
No, he's not dead! He's probably just bleeding internally and being a total baby about it!
You might be wondering how Ludo got all these resources, and why he's allowed to do all this, despite his main target being a princess. Well, the later seasons imply Ludo got the attention of the monsters because his family are the ones the butterflies put in charge of them, sort of like a puppet family. Basically, he's a monster, with a silver spoon sticking out of his mouth. This, combined with his terrible childhood, gives him a sense of superiority. Unless he stole them, this is also why he has access to dimensional scissors. This starts to get to Ludo. So in the episode Fortune Cookies, he holds interviews for a new team member.
Am I under pressure? Awesome!
Is that so?
Yeah. Why? Did you hear otherwise? I can't take it anymore! Ah!
Most accurate representation of me at a job interview. Nobody seems good enough. Before long, Ludo is at his wit's end.
These idiots are even dumber than you idiots!
Just as he's about to give up, there seems to be one good applicant.
West Munian swamp water. Or do you drink from the bottle?
OMG, I just got this. Dear viewers, let me introduce you to Toffee of the Tarsus. Sorry it took a lot of exposition to get to him. The first thing I'm sure you notice is Toffee looks different from most of Ludo's other minions. The monsters are all rough and tough thieves. They use their muscles and never their brains. Toffee is well groomed, put together, suave, and soft-spoken. Unlike them, Toffee's dangerous, just he doesn't seem it. And most importantly, he's missing a finger. We'll get to that soon, just know Star's family were the ones who did it. And best of all, Toffee shares a power with Kenny McCormick. He can't die. Septarians can regenerate any part of themselves. They have super long lifespans, making them functionally immortal. Well, back to the episode. Ludo's intrigued by Toffee, and likely his past qualifications is a blood spatter analysis, so he hires him.
We'll start tomorrow. Get some rest.
Pretty certain Ludo might have a crush on him.
Where did you come from?
I let myself in.
When?
After you hired me,
I hired you?
I accept.
You know what? I should try that in my next job interview. See how it goes. After this point, Toffee stays with Ludo for 3 episodes, prior to the all-important storm the castle. This episode, Independence Day, and Marco grows a beard. It might only be for a short time, but Toffee leaves quite the impression on both the audience and the characters. Out of this trilogy, Fortune Cookies is probably my favorite. Maybe it's because it's his debut episode, but I really did enjoy it. See, Marco took Star to a Chinese restaurant and introduced her to Fortune Cookies, hence the title. Apparently, they have a similar version on Muni, only with calzones.
You will die from choking on a calzone.
I'm suddenly hungry. Marco jokes to Star that fortune cookies predict the future, and since this is back when the show was fish out of water, Star takes this in the most literal sense.
Did someone say nachos?
Oh, this dude. Did you know that Disney made the crew include him and Alfonso, since they wanted Marco to have guy friends? Even Darren Nepsey hates them. That tells you all you need to know.
Ludo, master! The girl thinks the messages in her cookies are fortunes. She does whatever they say.
Intrigued, Toffee comes out with a plan. While Star and Marco were out for a walk, Ludo's minions distract them.
Love is always the answer.
Sorry, Marco. It's not the will of the cookie.
Aw, if Star aren't able to fight, it seems as though they'll finally win.
There's the wand! I can totally grab it!
Patience.
Wait a second. In the end, Star discovers the ruse and learns a harsh lesson. Now, when I first watched the episode, and even when I rewatched it, I thought it was super strange Toffee picked such a big fortune. You might say, oh well kitty, Ludo picked it. Of course it was something stupid. This is still Toffee's plan, so I lean towards him telling Ludo what to write. Sure, it's to distract Star, but could they just make a fortune that all but says, give Ludo the wand, and write it big enough so Star doesn't get skeptical? Like, you will give something valuable of yours away. Then we got this. Did he? He intended this, didn't he? Before I go any further, I think we need to focus on Toffee's personality a bit. Prior to Toffee, the reason the monsters failed was they usually didn't have a plan besides jump in, take the wand, ask questions later. Unless Star was sleeping, at school, or answering the call of nature, they would show up anytime, anywhere. It made it so easy for Star to win. What makes Toffee different is he always comes prepared. If he doesn't know who you are, he'll read you like a book. He stays 10 steps ahead of people and gets them to do things based upon how they react, rather than how he wants you to react, which I think makes him scarier and better written. With the Toffee-centered episodes, there'll be a theme that he engineers plots based on your weaknesses, and then he'll set you up for failure, and then get what he wants out of you. Sure, I think it's a bit of a cliche, but it still works. Toffee knows knowledge is his most important tool, and he has enough sense to stay out of the fight and watch from the sidelines. We never got a villain like him before, and the writers do the clever thing of contrasting him with Ludo. In addition, they imply there's more to him lore-wise, and that's always a good thing.
Okay, look, Star, this is really hard to say. But if this is gonna go any further, I want our relationship to have a foundation of honesty.
Gross, man, she's 14. While the mission is ultimately unsuccessful, the fact they got as close as they did impresses Ludo, and he keeps Toffee on full-time. Big mistake. Now we get to the most important episode of Season 1, Independence Day. While I do believe the show truly starts with St. Olga's, I think this is the episode that puts everything into perspective. It's ultimately the turning point for both Star's character and the show. A lot of people complain Star Versus went downhill after they started to ramp up the monsters by giving them certain real-life parallels. Hey, I didn't mind it. I suppose they might have made it way too obvious at times, but I thought things were still interesting. And even shows that do this exact same thing, like Adventure Time, Gravity Falls, they go overboard with this too. So like always, you say it for one, you gotta say it for all. In the episode, the titular holiday arrives, and Star can't wait to celebrate. If I had to explain it, it's a combo of Thanksgiving and the 4th of July, only it's held on the 37th of Grodnock. It even has its own story with a cute little pop-up book and some pretty sneaky diction.
A modest people with noble pursuits. The wicked monsters rose up and attacked the innocent humans to re-steal Muni for themselves.
I like how they use the word re-steal. Like they knew what they did was wrong, but they gotta be sure kids don't question or understand the impact. The monsters, for some peculiar reason, aren't happy about a holiday that commemorates what's known as, and I quote, the Great Monster Massacre.
Princess Butterfly is reenacting our favorite holiday, the Great Monster Massacre.
That is my least favorite holiday.
Wonder why. On Toffee's direction, they send out 2 spies. The first is the usual buff frog, and the second, well...
Oh, that's just the all-seeing eye. It follows you around all day. Don't worry, it's just to remind the monsters that the royal family is always watching.
Did they just steal that from Eclipsa?
Now we can watch Star wherever she goes. In the kitchen, bedroom, even in the bathroom.
Sir.
Maybe we don't keep the bathroom channel.
Buff Frog doesn't like the all-seeing eye, and is kinda jelly about the fact Toffee took over as Ludo's #1. This will be important, don't worry.
Sometimes your biggest threat is right under your nose.
Ludo, I think Toffee's the Bay Harbor Butcher. You better run, man. Marco gets suspicious about the holiday's origin, and he tells it to Star.
I've been looking through your book, and something seems off.
She doesn't believe him at first, but the idea begins to eat away at her.
Oh, okay.
Like I said, this is ultimately the turning point for both Star and the show. It makes the point that while Ludo might not have the best intentions, from their perspective, the minions are fighting for a worthy cause. It really makes you question who's the bad guy here. It might also work to give Toffee more depth as a character. He did say the Butterfly family did something to him.
You're not the first monster to fall victim to their magic.
Maybe it wasn't his fault, like he was protecting himself or others. Back at Castle Avarius,
Toffee replaced me with electronic eye. Pretty soon, Toffee will replace you with the electronic ice cream cone, and you with another electronic ice cream cone.
that doesn't seem so bad.
Are you finished?
Are you finished?
Was this a callback? Toffee hatches another plan. Using the scissors, they'll wait for an opening, and then somebody will reach in, use his device, and grab the wand. He also takes special care to say somebody should volunteer, i.e. Buff Frog.
Now, Who'd like to bring Ludo his wand?
I will go.
I thought you might, you fat bag of garbage.
Salty. Reluctantly, Star begins the reenactment, and Buffrog gets to work. In short, the device doesn't work, and worse yet, his failure is caught on camera. So Buffrog resorts to taking the wand. And probably the most mature moment of her life up to this point, she lets him escape. Sadly, Ludo shows him no such kindness.
This is what you get when you hire people from the swamp!
That's rude.
I think you know what you have to do.
Well, that was pretty hardcore.
You did what had to be done.
Good thing Star left him a plate of food, otherwise he would have gone to bed hungry. Albeit it's like leaving a can of tuna out for a stray cat. But hey, considering what happens before this episode, that's a big gesture. You know what? I should totally make a video on Buffrog. He was the first monster Star befriended, and even after that, they were good buddies. With Buffrog kicked out, Toffee's unopposed, so we get to the final step of his plan. That brings us to the end of the trilogy, when Marco grows a beard. It's my least favorite. The only part I liked was the ending. It starts like a normal episode. Marco tries to grow a beard, because he hears Jackie Lynn likes guys with beards. Star tries to help using her magic, only the beard grows out of control. For plot reasons, Star loses the wand in the mess. The monsters sense an opening and go to find the wand.
I have location on the wand. It's inside the house, and it's ours for the taking.
Were they waiting outside this whole time?
Of course. It's just, the wand's never been unattended before.
I mean, it has a couple of times. Or wait, is he just buttering up Ludo? The monsters try to comb through the beard, and they get close. As leader, Ludo wants to be the one to pull Excalibur out of the hair. I don't know if I'm allowed to discuss this. Ironically, I'm gonna need to nitpick. So, part of Toffees' plan is to make Ludo seem like a terrible leader. Except, how did he know Ludo had a weird phobia about beards? I doubt he was present at that birthday party. Hey, it's a funny scene, but how did Toffee know about that? Ludo never mentioned it to him. It's probably just me looking too deeply into things, but they should have at least had a scene of this, or included a mention. When they get home, Ludo is absolutely livid. And for the rest of the monsters, this is the last straw.
Perhaps they should use that time to think about what you've done.
Exactly! Wait, what?
Putting his rhetoric skills to work, Toffee gives a rousing speech, and it seems to resonate.
It throws you into a pit of hair, makes you do all the work, and shows you no appreciation for your sacrifices. Has all the power in the universe at his fingertips, and gets tickled right out of it.
Unsurprisingly, Ludo plays right into his trap, and does himself little to no favor. He doesn't apologize or even try to explain his side.
You guys belong to me!
Well, tough choice on my end.
You can't do this!
Wow, I almost feel bad for Ludo. Keyword here being almost. Now we come to the all-important final episode, and the climax of Season 1, Storm the Castle. Unlike Ludo, Toffee is a much better leader, mostly because he's had past experience in that department, but we don't know that yet. Like I said, Ludo might have been able to rally so many monsters, but he never had a good plan. I also like the detail that in previous episodes, Toffee treated Boofly with a lot of fondness.
Well done.
In this episode, since he got what he wanted, he treats him like an annoying pest.
What did I say about the pillows? I don't need pillows on my chair. I'm an adult.
When the episode starts, Star and Marco have an argument over a sandwich.
Evil sandwich!
No, I'm kidding, it's a normal sandwich. At the beginning, I thought this was the show being its usual over-the-top self, but this makes more sense later. Marco goes off to sulk, and a few hours later, Star understands that she overreacted.
Oh, Star! We were just looking at Raphael's old book of medical illustrations.
Is that what they're calling it nowadays?
The call is coming from inside the house.
I think they stole that from Rick and Morty, or did Rick and Morty steal that from them? She gets to Marco's bedroom, finding Boofly.
If you ever want to see the boy alive again, bring the wand and come alone.
At the castle, Toffee chats with Marco, and it's strange. This is like the only time they've ever talked.
Eat something. Could be your last meal.
One complaint I heard people mention is the sandwich thing means nothing. Like, they hyped it up for no reason.
You really should eat.
I don't want your stinking sandwich!
I guess that's true, but here's my argument. I think it's Toffee being his normal, spiteful self. Like, Star abandoned you over a sandwich. Better eat while you still can, human. With Buffrog's help, Star makes a big entrance, and she's very, well, Furious would be an understatement.
Huh?
Oof, E for effort. She even dips down, albeit without knowing what she did. Thinking she knows what he wants, Star surrenders the wand.
I don't want your wand.
Surprise!
Toffee lays out his demands. He doesn't want the wand for his possession, he wants the wand destroyed. Faced with a tough choice, Star agrees.
I'm sorry.
Just look at her face. She knows what she's doing. She understands the gravity of it, but she knows it's the only way to save Marco. Does anybody have the melody for this, or know what the mill horse told Star? I'm curious.
Now let Marco go.
Awfully kind of him. Toffee puts something in the wand, and then he congratulates the monsters. So, Toffee killed a few people, including himself. Yeah, we didn't know at the time he already racked up a body count, so this was huge. I know Star and Marco survived, and Buff Frog got out in time, but you can't say the same for everybody else. Believe me when I say, the writers really glossed over this. In the end, it isn't a total loss. A mill horse returns to Power Star's wand fragment, albeit something's going on inside.
Okay, that's not good.
Velociraptor tells Moon and River to find the missing piece, setting up the events for Season 2. Whoa, that was a lot, and that was only one season. So it seems that's the last of Toffee. Yeah, I'm definitely doing a two-parter.